DK Metcalf heading to the Steel Town. Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty Show. We are talking some deals with wide receivers tonight, as well as my updated 2025 rookie rankings. Yes, earlier tonight it was DK Metcalf being traded from Seattle to the Pittsburgh Steelers, getting a 5-year, $150 million deal. So he's getting his $30 million a year. DK taking his big time long ball game to the Steel Town. Now it is yet to be seen if it will be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or somebody brand new throwing him the ball. We don't know yet. I would slightly lean Russell Wilson, actually, seeing as him and DK had a pretty solid connection in Seattle. So that would be my guess. That still means that I would think they'll draft a rookie quarterback this year. Your guess is as good as mine. What round that would be for Pittsburgh? I mean, geez, I could see Jackson Dart in the first round. Maybe they wait till the second round, maybe Jalen Milroe in the second round, or who knows? They just wait for Will Howard in the fourth round. I don't know. What does this mean for DK Metcalf, first of all? Well, I don't love receivers in an Arthur Smith offense. Let's just say that. Now, Drake London put up decent numbers in an Arthur Smith offense. Yes, he did. So, I mean, in all actuality, does this really mean a drop-off for DK? Well, we're all assuming this means George Pickens will be out the door, but now what kind of market does George Pickens have? So we'll see what we have in store, what Pittsburgh has in store for us heading into the NFL draft coming up in a month and a half. This is going to be big headlines all next 5 weeks, or until Pickens is traded at least. Because I could see the Steelers going running back in the first round, getting somebody like Quinshad Judkins or Amarian Hampton, if he's still there, to be their first and second down grinder. I don't think they'll be bringing Najee Harris back. He will probably go elsewhere with his talents. Plus, the Steelers don't exactly have a ton of cap room now that they've paid DK. I'm not a cap master, but I'm just assuming that they ate up some of the cap space that they did have with signing DK Metcalf. Now, what else does this mean in Seattle? Well, they just got rid of Geno Smith, and so JSN is still there all by himself, basically. I don't think it will be Sam Howell slinging the rock there for the Seahawks. I look for them to either be going after Sam Darnold heavily or potentially Aaron Rodgers. Not sure on that one. Doesn't seem like I don't know. Aaron Rodgers to Seattle just seems very strange to me. So I don't like that idea, but they could easily be drafting a quarterback there in the middle of the first round as well. Then in Pittsburgh, we've got, George Pickens sitting there. I just can't see both of them. They're basically ex-wide receivers. It doesn't seem like a match made in heaven. And with Arthur Smith, they're not going to be an offense that is throwing a ton. So I don't think they want both of them there. I think that they would be best advised to try and get what they can for Pickens. What kind of landing spots could you see for George Pickens? Well, the Packers were definitely a big team mentioned to try and be going after DK Metcalf. Now they could shift their sights towards Pickens. But with Pickens, you've got the attitude baggage. So I don't know if that's the Packers would be looking for. The Bills were looking into DK Metcalf. and the Raiders are there as well. But now DK won't be going to Las Vegas anymore. So those are just three of the main teams. There's many others out there in the NFL today. I mean, pretty much every team, save an Arthur Smith run offense, would like to have three stud wide receivers, of course, but they need three solid wide receivers just because they run three wide receiver sets. Geez, it seems at least half the time now. So I could see many teams inquiring about George Pickens. It just comes down to now what exactly is the asking price. So DK to Pittsburgh, that's the big one. Then you also have Davante Adams going to the Rams 1 year for $23 million. And they're still going to be trading Cooper Kupp. So they say. I don't know that they can afford both of them, so I'm pretty sure Kupp is going to get dealt. What does this do for Adams? Adams, this is a good situation. Not great, because of course Puka Nacua is there, but you have a situation where you get hyper targeted, the wide receivers do there. You can have Puka and Davante Adams coexist. I think Puka still gets his monster share of targets, and Davante is there as the second option, a very solid second option. I mean, despite his age, Davante still can put up numbers. He didn't have an amazing time there in New York last year with Aaron Rodgers, but now that Matthew Stafford will have Puka and Davante Adams, I think that makes Stafford happy and gives Davante Adams another shot at a run at a title. I mean, the Rams were right there. They were in the divisional round against the Eagles. They actually gave the Eagles the best run for their money in the playoffs this last season. So the Rams, with their up-and-coming defense, they are a team to be reckoned with, and I think this is a good fit for both Davante as well as Matthew Stafford, and I would not be scared of Puka Nacua. If you've got somebody in your league now that's scared about Puka, maybe this is the time you could try and hit them up, or maybe you got to wait a week or two, because maybe they'll just be like, no, I'm holding it. And then in a week or two, they might think differently. So what it does do, though, is sort of eliminates the Rams as a landing spot for a first-round wide receiver, in my opinion. Of course, they could still take one to have three good wide receivers. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they could still go wide receiver. I kind of doubt it now. They invested some, a second rounder into Roman Wilson last year. That, of course, didn't pay off, but the guy was banged up all season. So I think they'd want to still try him out. Again, if they're going after somebody, I would think that Emeka Egbuka would still fit in nicely in the power slot role there, but again, it's an Arthur Smith offense. It's just very hard to squint and see something benefiting wide receivers there in Pittsburgh. So I think DK still could be good for his 900 to 1,000 yards and 7 to 8 touchdowns. So you're not really going to lose much there with DK. He still kind of stays right in the same ballpark, late first, early second. I mean, Pittsburgh's going to be looked at as a negative landing spot for him. So you probably can pry him off for an early second from the owner if you try. It depends. If they're contending, I would still see DK as a good contending asset. I think this just happened so recently. Haven't had any time to really think about it and process it yet, but this is just an initial reaction. I wouldn't just hyper go and sell them for a mid to late second, put it that way. But yeah, so those were the big moves today just happening. We, of course, had the Geno trade to the Raiders, and that one's interesting. You've got Pete Carroll bringing in his guy that he had there in Seattle, and again, here's a situation where maybe the Brock Bowers owner is getting scared. But, I mean, Geno threw the ball plenty in Seattle. He threw it more than you think, honestly. And I wouldn't be scared of Brock Bowers now. I mean, he had Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell throwing him the ball last year. I don't think he's going to be hurt any by Geno Smith coming in and throwing the rock. So should be fine. The only way now is if the Steelers were to trade for some big time target hog at wide receiver, which kind of is tough right now to do that. Even if they were to draft Tet McMillan or Luther Burden in the first round, if they move back for Luther Burden or drafted Tet at 6 or moved back and still ended up with Tet, I don't think either scenario is really going to hurt Brock Bowers there with Geno. So I am still in favor of Brock Bowers in this case. So anyway, those are my initial thoughts of the brand spanking new news that we had here tonight. Of course, we'll delve on this more as the draft season rolls along here. But on to the new rookie rankings that I have for you in my Patreon. If you go and check out my Patreon, it's just $3 a month. So you get my rookie rankings, you get access to the birdcage where we will talk as much as you want. I love chatting away fantasy football any time of the day. So go ahead. Like I said, it's just $3 a month. You get my rookie rankings. You get some old footage that I've thrown in there, and you also are eligible, probably most importantly, for a roster review. I'm going to have 2 roster reviews being done this weekend for Steve S. and Hergot, 2 of their squads we're going to be looking at. Those will be done later this week, and so stay tuned into the birdhouse for those. But here is my updated rookie rankings following the NFL Combine last week. Took some time this week to look at these and get a little more in depth on these. So yes, right here, as you can see, we still have Ashton Genty at number 1. I've made him alone in the top tier. Now, after Genty, I sort of see a mega tier, and I'm going to probably adjust how I separate the tiers. Like I said, I'm going to have a big mega tier here from pick 2 down to 13. As you can see here, there's 2 tiers I have. There it goes down to pick 13. But at the top, tier 2, Tet McMillan, Omarion Hampton, Quinshad Judkins, first quarterback, then Cam Ward, Travion Henderson, Luther Burden, and Tyler Warren. So just 1 quarterback in the top tier. I didn't like what I heard from Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur is a decent quarterback, but honestly, his ceiling seems to me like Jared Goff, Geno Smith type. He's just a pocket passer. Like, I believe he has athleticism, right? But Caleb Williams had athleticism too. Didn't run a whole lot or didn't scare people. Now, I think Shedeur, rookie season, it happens to all quarterbacks where they tuck the ball and run a little bit more than they end up doing for the rest of their careers. So yes, he may end up with 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns his rookie season, but Shedeur's got to get into an offense that likes to sling it, has a good coordinator for him, and then he could possibly blossom above where I have him slotted here at pick 10. He could potentially move up into the next tier, but honestly, man, Jackson Dart has just been on fire this offseason so far. I liked him before this whole draft season started, before the Senior Bowl, and he's done nothing to have me stop from moving him up. So there you see him in at number 12, just 2 spots behind Shador. So tier 2, Caleb Johnson, who's part of those top 5 running backs. Then you have Shador, Mecca Buka, Jackson Dart, and Colston Loveland. And the thing is, why I'm saying this is one big mega tier here, if I can slide it up, there we go. I see this as one big mega tier because Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren are like really close, but pretty much everybody has Tyler Warren number 1. Now, landing spot could scare you off. Like an Indianapolis landing spot for a tight end doesn't look exactly great, but who's to say Anthony Richardson isn't benched by week 3, right? And then you got some dude from the streets or some solid backup like Jameis Winston or Joe Flacco again, maybe slinging the rock, and it's a totally different Colts offense. And all of those weapons that they've got, they've got to get some use. I mean, going down the line with Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, A.D. Mitchell, possibly a rookie tight end here, whether it's Warren or Loveland, either of them would benefit from somebody else other than Richardson being the one throwing the ball. But just keep in mind, situations change. Everybody was down on Brock Bowers' situation last year, and look what he did, right? So next up, in the next mega tier, if you will, so that'd be starting with tier 4 here. We have Matthew Golden, Jalen Noel, Alec Iomaner, Dylan Sampson, Ollie Gordon, Cam Scatabo, and Rocket Sanders. Okay, so I know that I probably have Rocket Sanders a little higher than most others, but I am a believer. I've been a believer in him since his freshman year. He came into college football as a highly recruited back to Arkansas, didn't disappoint in his freshman season. But second season was rough, and then he transferred to South Carolina, and he actually had a solid season last year. I'm finding it hard why he got dropped so low. And then he came out and smashed at the combine, not as much as, say, Bashul Tutin, but I just don't know why he had been so low on some people's boards. So I think Rocket Sanders has good day 2 potential. Maybe he'll slide to the 4th or 5th round, but either way, he's a dude that can play on Sunday. Then you've got Ollie Gordon, who's been very polarizing. Will we get the 2023 version or the 2024 version of Ollie Gordon? Who knows? Ollie struggled with the Oklahoma State offensive line being terrible, with their defense being awful and them trailing all the time. So Ollie Gordon, I give kind of a pass to for his last season performance in college. All right. Jalen Noel is the big mover. I moved him up to 16. I didn't want to do anything too crazy. He had an awesome combine, and he looks like a great slot receiver. And he can play on the outside too. So he's not just a slot guy. But I didn't want to just go crazy and push him up into the tier 1 type receivers. So there he is, slotted in nicely at pick 16, somebody you can get in the mid 2nd round right now. All right. Then at the bottom of that tier, which I'm saying tiers 4 and 5 are another mega tier, I slotted Bashul Tutin in there, who will go based off of this in a late 2nd round, Jalen Milroe as well, and Travis Hunter, somebody who obviously none of us really know how to rank at this point. So I've moved him down because I'm trying to avoid thinking about it too much. It's just a headache that I probably will let some other league mate have. And then if I like the way he produced, I'll just go trade for him 2nd year, right? Why not? Why take the headache and all the risk on? Let somebody else have that risk. All right. Next year, as we moved on to like the 3rd round of our rookie drafts, you've got RJ Harvey, Harold Fannin, Jaden Higgins, Devin Neal, Jordan James, Brashard Smith, DJ Giddens, Jalen Royals, Elijah Arroyo, and Mason Taylor. So you see the next 3 tight ends here. Fannin, Elijah Arroyo, and Mason Taylor. You could pretty much rank them any which way you want. I just kind of threw them all into this. Again, this is a big tier. You've got some good, solid running backs in here. Devin Neal, somebody who could get moved up. Rashard Smith as well. He had an awesome combine, as did DJ Giddens. So all of those running backs, man, I just love this class at the running back position. The tight ends are solid here. Jalen Royals is a dude I really like. Watch some tape on him. From the people I know that have watched him play in college, they compared him to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Steve Smith. Like he's got that kind of motor in him. So he's a dude that I feel will make it on Sundays, and somebody who could potentially pop out of nowhere. In this case, at pick 32, that would be around the 308. So that would be a huge steal. Any of these guys hit as a third round pick, that is a huge steal for you. All right, moving on down. We come to the backup quarterbacks. I've just got them all thrown in here because it's really hard to differentiate between. None of these guys are going to be drafted and expected to be starters right away in the NFL. They're pretty much going to be drafted to be backups. You could argue that maybe for Quinn Ewers. I just really don't care for Quinn Ewers and the way he played. And I mean, I personally am shocked that Arch Manning just didn't get to take over. But at the same time, the guy was playing for Texas, one of the top 5 teams in the country all season. And so, if Quinn Ewers does get drafted at the top of the second round, you can look to see him getting an opportunity at some point in 2025. And therefore, I'd probably be forced to move him up the board just a little bit. All right. At least into, say, the middle of the third round. Right now, he's at pick 38. That would be like the 402. I would probably move him up into the middle of the previous tier. But the other guys, Kyle McCord, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, and Tyler Shook from Louisville. I like Will Howard. My favorites, though, honestly, are Kyle McCord and Dylan Gabriel. Gabriel's been mocked to the Miami Dolphins. Perfect landing spot as Tua's backup, an accurate left-handed quarterback. Set the college football record, 4 touchdown passes in his career. He's very seasoned, multiple programs. Only problem is he's tiny. Okay, now that hasn't stopped guys like Drew Brees before, but it does take a special offense to make it happen for somebody like that. Kyle McCord's a kid that just loves to grip it and rip it. He's a perfect backup quarterback that could see success in the NFL when given the opportunity. After those quarterbacks, I threw in some solid wide receivers. Isaiah Bond falling. Didn't help himself by bragging that he could run a 4.1 or 4.2 and then running a 4.39 and being outshined once again by Matthew Golden, his teammate. So I've slid Isaiah Bond down the boards. He, to me, is just somebody that I don't see as becoming an elite wide receiver in the NFL. Maybe a nice solid number 3 wide receiver, basically. Jack Beach, again, somebody kind of just reminds me, I know it's not because he's white, but it kind of reminds me of Luke McCaffrey last year. Beach did have a good combine, good shuttle run. So Beach is somebody who could surprise as well. Then I've got some running backs thrown in there. Khalil Mullings, Jaden Blue had a good 40 time. Marcus Yarns from Delaware. Go check him out. He's a very little known guy, but did do well at the combine as well. Then Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon, had an awesome combine. He could be moved up higher if you'd like. Trevor Etienne, Travis's younger brother, Woody Marks, Gunnar Helm, Xavier Restrepo, and Aronde Gadsden to round it out. So those are my top 50 rookie rankings as of right now. Tell me how bad these rankings are. Tell me why I suck and should have somebody else ranked differently. Go ahead and fire away. That's what I'm here for. Let me know. And try and give me a little credit if you can once in a while. I don't mind that. But yeah, go ahead and tell me where I'm wrong. I don't mind it at all. So we're getting ready for another mock draft Monday tomorrow night. That's right. Be ready for that. Of course, you all can participate. We love the participation. But if nobody shows up, that's fine. I'll rattle through my rankings and I will do a draft. It's either way, it works out for everybody. So come on into the birdhouse tomorrow night. We'll be doing a live mock draft Monday for everybody. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. As always, check out the Patreon. Again, just $3 a month. Very good. Get to the rankings. Get you some help to improve your dynasty football teams. All right. If there's no other questions, though, I'm going to get on out of here. So just remember, folks, please never stop working.